Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about PlayStation 2 emulation with PCSX2, and PCSX2 has just released their brand new startup guide. So they say here in an announcement over on Mastodon, our new setup docs are finally out, covering system requirements, BIOS and disk dumping, and downloading and running PCSX2. We hope these set the standard for what's to come in terms of readability, accessibility, comprehensiveness, and polish. PCSX2 wouldn't exist without all of you, and we owe it to the community to make it as open as possible. So heading on over to their setup guide on their website, and everything seems very clearly laid out in 4 different sections. They've got system requirements, dumping BIOS, dumping disks, and running PCSX2. And there is a ton of information on each of the sections. I mean, running PCSX2 here, they talk about the difference between these stable and nightly builds. They talk about the nuances between operating systems, Windows, macOS, and Linux. And they also talk about the portable mode. Additionally, there's specific information about configuration, for example, controllers and memory cards. And on top of that, they talk about rendering options between software and hardware and certain modes and when to use them. There is a whole lot of information in here, including examples and troubleshooting and all of that. I would say it's also worth noting here, taking a look at the system requirements, and they do recommend at least 8 gigs of RAM, or at a minimum 8 gigs of RAM. And if you're interested in any of this and wanted to learn more about it, like everything we talk about, links will be within the GitHub link in the bottom of the description below. I don't hide my sources. And overall here, I would say this is an incredibly well written, easy to follow, and comprehensive setup guide. I mean, there is a ton of information in it. Moving on, and we're going up one generation here and talking about PlayStation 3 emulation with RPCS3. Now, we talked about this one before, so this is more of just a friendly reminder or friendly heads up. But RPCS3 was recently updated and now supports multi-slot save states. So they say here you can go to Manage and Save States to see your current save states list. Shortcuts are also available for the 4 most recent save states. Control-Alt-1 boots the last save state, and Control-Alt-4 boots the 4th to last save state. Obviously, Control-Alt-2 and 3 boot the 2nd and 3rd save states. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. I mean, we did talk about it, but I guess this is just a friendly reminder. And speaking about friendly heads ups, next up we're switching from PlayStation to Xbox and talking about Xbox 360 emulation with Xenia Edge. And if you're not familiar with Xenia Edge, I don't blame you. A lot of people are familiar with Xenia and Xenia Canary. However, Xenia Edge exists, and for those who are unaware, it's yet another experimental fork of the Xenia emulator, mainly based on Xenia Canary, but with the aim of quicker iteration and improvements to Vulkan backend, and Linux platform in particular. Now, Windows hasn't been forgotten here. They say Windows, of course, remains fully supported as well and will benefit from the changes made here, especially with its Vulkan backend. And Xenia Edge just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, the latest update for Xenia Edge is version 43D0094. And this update, if I'm not mistaken, mainly targets Linux, but at the same time it is available. It's 100% free and open source. And this makes it the 4th version of Xenia that is mainline. We've got Xenia, Xenia Canary, which is a little bit more experimental, Xenia Edge, which is a little bit more experimental than that, and Xenia Subscribe to Mr. Sujano. Next up, we're shifting from emulation development to game development and talking about Pocketpair, who is behind Palworld and generative AI. Now, it seems these days there's a lot of people either for AI or against it, and Pocketpair, who recently launched their own publishing studios, is against generative AI. And apparently here in an interview over on Game Developer, they will not publish games that are using generative AI. I recommend checking out the full article up on Game Developer because there is a lot of information and extra context there. I'm just going over a couple of things. First and foremost, Pocketpair Communications Director and Publishing Manager John Buckley explains that the company being Pocketpair, doesn't believe in the polarizing technology, that polarizing technology being generative AI. And also here, they say he also wonders, given the fact that Pocketpair is regularly accused of deploying generative AI within Palworld, whether people will actually believe him. And he goes on to say here, people are going to say I'm lying, but these are just the hard facts. We don't believe in it. We're very upfront about it. If you're big on AI stuff or your game is Web3 or uses NFTs, there are lots of publishers out there who will talk to you, but we're not the right partner for that. Let me know your thoughts about that one in the comments below. The article has a lot more information, but based on my understanding here, Palworld does not use AI. I don't want to say this confirms it, but them saying they don't use it, I think kind of confirms it. On top of that, I'm very surprised that they are against games and won't publish games that use generative AI. And speaking about interesting stuff, next up we're switching from Palworld to Pokemon and talking about Pokemon Legends ZA. Now, Pokemon Legends ZA, I would say, has been a little bit polarizing online. A lot of people seem to be genuinely excited about it. But there are others thinking that this game is a little bit low effort. There are some people criticizing the design choices like the flat buildings and the empty dead areas and that kind of stuff. Anyways, here, it seems that none of the criticisms even matter. Pokemon Legends ZA, according to Nintendo, is selling extremely well. So if you're online today or possibly within the next few days and you're looking at Pokemon information, chances are you're going to come across headlines like this one. Pokemon Legends ZA sells over 5.8 million copies in its first week. And stuff like this here too. Pokemon Legends ZA, already one of Nintendo Switch 2's best-selling games. It's also being reported that Pokemon ZA is the 5th best-selling Pokemon game of all time in its first week. And I might debate that based on these numbers. But anyways here, let's go over them. So the best-selling Pokemon game of all time in the first week is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet with 10 million sales in 3 days. Pokemon Legends Arceus is second with 6.5 million sales in 3 days. Pokemon Sword and Shield, 6 million sales in 3 days, brings it into third place. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, 6 million sales in 3 days. I guess that's tied for third. So in fifth place here, we've got Pokemon Legends ZA with 5.8 million sales in 4 days. And Pokemon XY in sixth place with 4 million sales in 2 days. That's 4 in 2 as opposed to 5.8 in 4. I would say in 4 days, Pokemon XY might be higher than Pokemon Legends ZA. I could be wrong. And then in seventh place, we've got Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee with 3 million sales in 3 days. Now, I don't know what the Pokemon company thinks, I don't know what Nintendo thinks, and I don't know what you think, but I would say these numbers are highly encouraging for the Pokemon team. I mean, even looking at Mario Kart World, which sold 5.6 million units in its launch month, not in 3 days, in its launch month. I would say Pokemon is doing extremely well on the Switch too. So for those of you who are not happy with Pokemon's direction, I would say that these sales numbers might be highly discouraging to you, and I would say they're highly encouraging Pokemon to continue on with what they're doing. This seems extremely successful. And speaking about successful, next up here, we're going back one generation from the Switch 2 to the Switch and talking about Nintendo Switch emulation with Eden. And there's a very interesting interview and article up on GardnerBryant.com. It's titled Preserving Play, How Eden Grew into the Switch Emulator Everyone's Talking About. If you are interested in learning more about this one, I would recommend checking out the interview. I mean, they talk about the team and the stories behind each of the team members, as well as the current state of the emulator, what challenges they're going through, and where it's headed. On top of that, they also talk about the DMCA from the Google Play Store causing the removal of Eden. And on a quick side note, for those saying that Eden was not DMCA'd from the Google Play Store, well, here is the proof, and this is right from Eden's development team. Go figure. Anyways here, taking a look at the information as well, I mean, they talk about the future of Eden if something were to happen. And there's a lot of really, really interesting information here. I think this article and this interview is very well articulated, it's very well written, and I would recommend checking it out. Next up here, we're talking about the ASUS ROG Xbox Ally X. Now, for those who may not be aware, I talked about this in my previous video. This handheld is currently powering this YouTube channel. I was provided one to test out and review, not sponsored, but review for a fair and honest review, as a desktop PC or laptop PC and handheld combo. So it was a very interesting proposition. ASUS went for it, and well, let's just go from there. Anyways, here, we're going to be talking about this one more in the future, and I do have a post on it and on the YouTube page as well. But there are reviews coming out here, and not necessarily reviews. There are videos out here talking about Bazzite and installing it on the ROG Xbox Ally X. And you can probably tell my smile keeps getting bigger and bigger seeing this stuff. So based on what I've seen so far, not just from ETA Prime here, but I do recommend checking out this video. Bazzite runs extremely well on the Xbox Ally and Xbox Ally X. The only issue currently being RGB controls, which is completely understandable. I mean, even if you have like an ROG laptop that has RGB in it and install Linux, sometimes RGB can be a problem. Anyways, here, taking a look at the video, and this is extremely promising and also very exciting. On top of that, there's a video here with Cyber Dopamine who goes over their experience with Bazzite. And the video is titled Fixing the Xbox Ally with SteamOS. I would recommend checking this out. And again, like everything we talk about, link will be within the GitHub link in the description below. It just seems that Bazzite has better frame rates right across the board. Now, it's worth noting I have not tested this out myself yet, but I probably will get around to it. But it does seem that 17 watts-ish is where the huge difference is. And it does seem that Bazzite is providing more consistent FPS versus Windows. I will say, based on my current experience as I'm using this handheld to record this video, the videos this week and probably next will all be recorded using the Ally X, the Xbox Ally X. The Z2 Extreme chip is no slouch. It's an incredibly impressive chip. The hardware from ASUS here is really good. And speaking about Windows and Linux and operating systems, next up we're talking about Windows emulation on Android with GameHub. And GameHub has just released version 5.2.0. So this latest update brings about a whole bunch of stuff, improvements, fixes, and brand new features. They say here Steam optimization, family sharing support, resumable downloads, cloud saves Steam input, and dozens of other improvements. PC emulator enhancements, better controller input, and improved physical keyboard support. Smoother animations, global transitions, and page switches are now buttery smooth with more responsive controls. And enhanced game visuals, crisper list covers, and background images for a fully upgraded visual experience. And on a side note here, with this update, I'm fully expecting a new release of GameHub Lite at some point in the near future. We'll have to wait and see on that. But it does seem that this version of GameHub is really good for getting some extra games running. I mean, I've seen posts like this one, Escape the Backrooms on GameHub 5.2.0 and 2.2, Odin 2 Portal Base, 30 FPS plus. And posts like this one here, NFS Most Wanted, 60 FPS on a Snapdragon 8 Elite. And speaking about emulation on Android, next up we're switching back to Nintendo Switch emulation and talking about Benji SC. And Benji SC has just released version 2.0.5F. And with this update, there's some brand new stuff here. They say they've added in a save manager, added an import-export function for saves as .zip compatible with Eden. Mods, they added a mod manager with import and delete. Xbox controllers fixed L2-R2 not working. Cheat support, added a cheat manager with import function. And Amiibo support, and I guess even more home screen shortcuts. What's interesting here, and I think worth pointing out, Benji SC is based on Ryujinx, Eden is based on Yuzu. The save files are compatible with both, and it's very interesting to see them playing nicely with each other. And speaking about playing nicely with each other, next up we're kind of talking about the exact opposite. And we're talking about Counter-Strike 2 and skins and collectors, and well, this is probably not great news at all for people who make money on selling skins. It's being reported that the CS2 skin update rug pulls collectors as $1 billion has been wiped from the market cap. On top of that, I've seen reports like this, Counter-Strike skins market plummets $2 billion as Valve makes trade-up change. There is a very detailed article up on Dexerto that I would recommend checking out for more information. And I guess here the update expanded the trade-up contract system, letting users exchange 5 covert quality items for a knife or gloves, a process that was previously impossible. Players can now trade 5 StatTrak covert items for a StatTrak knife, or 5 regular covert items for a standard knife or gloves from one of the provided collections. I am curious to see what happens moving forward here. The community does not seem to be happy with this one at all. I would say for the casual gamer, they probably don't care, and this probably gives them more options as opposed to going to the secondary market. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. And speaking about sales and numbers and all of that stuff, next up we're talking about the PlayStation 5, and the legendary One Fluff has graced us with an appearance. Anyways, here it's being reported that the PlayStation 5 has now surpassed the PlayStation 3 in lifetime installed base. Now, from my understanding, that is US specific numbers, and taking a look globally here, if I'm not mistaken, the PS5 does sit still below the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. So right now, globally, the PS3 is reported at selling 87.4 million units. The PS4 is reported at selling 117.2 million units, where the PS5 in August was reported as selling 80.3 million units. Honestly, at this point in its life cycle, I really couldn't see it surpassing the PlayStation 4 in terms of overall sales unless the PS5 was significantly discounted, which I don't think is going to happen. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below and where the PlayStation 5 currently sits in the overall sales charts. Next up, we're talking about Mortal Kombat, and there's a brand new book out titled Mortal Kombat Flawless Victory that's generating quite a bit of buzz, both positive and negative. I mean, check out this headline here over on Time Extension. You wouldn't see Street Fighter or Tekken putting this garbage out. Mortal Kombat art book accused of using AI upscaling. So we will scroll down here and take a look at some images and let me know your thoughts about the sub-headline here. The use of AI upscaling is disastrous in this book. And I guess that's an image taken directly from the book, which, well, that to me does not look very good at all. Let me know your thoughts about this one. There are multiple examples of stuff like this. Now, taking a look at the other side of things, and there's a YouTube video here titled Mortal Kombat Flawless Victory Book Flip Through. And this one is by the Art Book Collector, and I'll drop a link to this one in the GitHub link below as well. But if I scroll down and take a look at the comments, this person says, just got mine today. It's absolutely beautiful and a must for any long-term MK fan. And check out the reply to that comment. Let me guess, you've changed your mind because some crybabies are crying on Twitter. And I'll scroll down here. Got mine yesterday and I absolutely love it. Such a great conversation piece and companion to the Legacy collection coming out in a week. So I guess you can kind of see here that comments are all over the place in terms of accepting and rejecting the art book. I'm wondering if some people have purchased it and regret purchasing it. I'm wondering if some people have purchased it and are trying to find reasons to justify that purchase. As for me, I'm a huge fighting game fan. I'm a Mortal Kombat fan, and I'm looking at this objectively. And taking a look at those images, and if those are the images from the book, I've got zero interest in picking one up. Let me know your thoughts. And speaking about interest in things, next up we're talking about cloud gaming and Amazon Luna. And if you haven't heard about Amazon Luna for a while, I don't blame you. They have just relaunched Amazon Luna. I've got no idea how long it's going to be around for, if this is a short-lived thing or if it succeeds and is around for a while. And if you're wondering what the top games are, the first one here is that controversial AI game with Snoop Dogg, Courtroom Chaos, or featuring Snoop Dogg. Then we've got Angry Birds, Hogwarts Legacy, and Sonic Mania Plus. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff, except the legendary one fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state. And yeah, I can do pretty much anything I want with her, and she just doesn't care.